Neno hili si hivyo. Mambo ni matatu.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome back to our channel once again. Something shocking happened yesterday in Murang'a during a funeral which was attended by Edwin Sifuna and Rigathi Gachagua. The Lamu Woman Rep was heckled, booed, and forced out of the funeral by men and women. And for me, I found the scenes to be unfortunate because it's a woman who was involved.
Msiulize, wacheni aende. Wacheni aende. Wacheni aende. Lakini aambie William huku ni one time. Huku ni one time. Aambie Ruto huku ni one time.
Karibu Mheshimiwa Gakuya. Haya. Karibu Mheshimiwa. Order vijana. Order security. Security move out. Security move out. Security cadre move out. Order. Order everybody. Order na watu waketi. Watu waketi. Tafadhali tuketi. Order. Security get out of the tent.
But what shocked me the most was that the people who incited the mourners to kick her out of the funeral were actually her colleagues in parliament. Ladies and gentlemen, I want us to talk about that particular incident because I've been figuring out why it happened. Because we all know that in politics, nothing happens out of mere coincidence. Everything in politics is normally well planned, well scripted, and executed to achieve a specific political objective. Nothing happens out of mere coincidence. For example, Rigathi Gachagua had this to say after that incident.
Tulianguka kwa sababu hatukuwa na askari. Askari walikuwa wangu, ndio Ruto walichukua. Akalipa pesa. Kama hiyo msichana alikuwa hapa ya Lamu. Alipewa 10 milioni. Ndio anakuja hapa kuongea ile maneno naongea hapa mbele ya watu. Si ndio? Si ndio? Naomba ndio tufaulu going forward. Vile wazee waliniambia nitengeneze chama, munisaidie na askari 150 hapa Murang'a. Naomba munisaidie governor wa DCP. Mutanisaidia?
So I want us to analyze that incident. But first of all, I want you guys to listen very keenly to the speech by the lady and tell me any mistake she committed.
Nimependezwa sana na barabara zenu. Barabara zenu ni lami. Wacha niwaambie, kwetu ni mashimo, kwetu hakuna barabara. Mimi nimefurahishwa na stima mko nayo hapa. Nyinyi watu wa Mount Kenya West. Haki ya Mungu nimekuja kurealize sisi wa Kikuyu, naomba mnisikize, mtanisikiza. Nyinyi wa Kikuyu wa Mount Kenya West, Mungu anajua sisi wa Kikuyu wa diaspora hatufanani na nyinyi. Shida zenu sio kama shida zetu. Ingawa wazazi wetu walitoka huku, nyinyi unaonekana mshafika Singapore. Na mimi kama Mudhoni, mshafika Singapore nyinyi. Mimi kama Mudhoni, mimi nawaambia, mimi sio wa one term, mimi ni wa two term, kwa sababu mimi Mudhoni ni wa two term. Na ni wa two term. I'm the only.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are my take about that particular incident. Number one, it confirms one thing: Mount Kenya hostility to William Ruto's government. And that hostility is as a result of what William Ruto promised the residents of the mountain. I'm not so sure whether those promises have been achieved or not. But William Ruto persuaded the mountain that he was going to change their lives. Remember, William Ruto campaigned on the platform of bottom-up approach, the hustler versus the dynasties. William Ruto persuaded the mountain that he was going to make their life easy. He persuaded the mountain that their problem at that time was Uhuru Kenyatta. And Uhuru Kenyatta was removed. Some of these problems persisted. In fact, some of them even increased, especially those who were in government. So they are very bitter and they are very angry with President William Ruto. So when this lady went there and talked about the development, some of these development cannot be attributed. For example, if there are good roads in Murang'a, if there are piped water in Murang'a, if there's electricity in Murang'a, you can't really attribute all of those to William Ruto's government. This is what these guys, I think, failed to understand. The lady was simply comparing the developments she witnessed there to what he left, to what she left wherever she came from. But some of these developments probably were initiated during Kibaki era, during Uhuru era, because remember, the mountain have always enjoyed the government. But the hostility is there. And one of the questions which I keep on asking myself, is Mount Kenya really against William Ruto's government? Or are they really only against William Ruto? Or is the hostility because ODM is now part of the government? But the truth is, it is not confirmed that there is serious hostility towards Kenya Kwanza or towards UDA leaders who are supporting William Ruto from Mount Kenya. And before the end of the year, just like Rigathi Gachagua pointed out, several leaders will be willing to join that camp. Number one. Number two, I think the momentum for 2027 is being created. Whether they'll be able to sustain that momentum, I don't know. But remember, immediately Rigathi Gachagua was impeached, the mountain became very hostile, like we witnessed yesterday. At some point, the hostility reduced a bit, because the moment Rigathi was impeached, even MPs could not go down on the ground, those who supported that impeachment. But at some point, it slowed down, but that hostility is back, which means they are trying to create the momentum which they are going to use until 2027. One thing I'm not so sure about is whether they'll be able to sustain it. Because if they'll be able to sustain this momentum, William Ruto and his brigades are going to find it very, very difficult. Of course, we all know that Ruto has now shifted his attention from the mountain and is now targeting the Western Kenya. And number 3, I think after the Mbere North by-election, Rigathi Gachagua and the team realized that they were losing a battle. And their battle was simple: anti-William Ruto sentiments. And that is exactly what they are now trying to recreate. The mountain must be very angry. They must be very bitter with William Ruto. They must sustain that anti-William Ruto narrative. That is exactly what we are witnessing. And lastly, DCP is now trying to stamp its authority in Mount Kenya. Moses Kuria was in this funeral. He was forced to leave after witnessing what happened to the Lamu Woman Rep. I did not see the presence of Jubilee at this particular funeral. I did not. So which means DCP is trying to stamp its authority as the dominant party in Mount Kenya. I don't know what you think, but let us wait and see what's going to happen. Because someone like Irungu Kangata was actually being put under a lot of pressure to declare his stand. Until next time, this is Makwiny. Bye-bye.